Hello, Libra, my loves. Time for your reading for January 27th to February 2nd. So, what I heard when I started shuffling your cards was, who are you going to call? Ghostbusters. And that's the feeling that I get is there is a ghost that might be holding some of you back right now. And the ghost isn't a person. It's a way of being. It's an old energy that you're still carrying. Now, the thing about Libras is you have got a very, very fast-moving mind, really fast. And sometimes it's difficult for you to slow your thoughts down long enough to interrupt them, to notice where they're going off the rails and creating problems for you, holding you back with old negative thoughts and negative patterns. And then, of course, that gets exacerbated, that gets complicated and becomes worse because then you go into what's a really natural Libra tendency, which is to blame yourself. And you can then go into almost victim mode about not being able to stop yourself. So it creates this perfect storm for stopping you in your tracks, even though you've been growing and healing and doing things that actually have started building you new resources for you to be able to move through. You then become, of course, self-critical, and there's often a sense of shame associated with that. And all of those are old, heavy energies and old mindsets that you've been working through. I want to remind you, you have been working through it, and you're being asked to please have compassion for yourself as you're going through this. Some of it, you tend then to go into, maybe I'm being lazy, maybe I'm not doing enough, and it's just another opportunity for you to kind of beat yourself up, which is kind of your pattern, all right? But that's what you're being asked to look at, is in those moments, understand it's not the individual thought that's the issue. It's the pattern that you go into. So where you need to start interrupting the pattern is when you get to a place, well, obviously any place you can do it, the sooner the better, because the more you just layer on this, I'm stuck, I can't do it, you go into shame, you go into resistance, you go into all of that self-criticism, which, like I said, kind of stops you in your tracks. That has a lot of momentum, and it's really hard to break when you're layering all these self-criticisms and shame and recriminations for not being in a better place, or you should be better, or you should be faster, or why is everybody else able to do it but I'm not, and it goes on. Okay, understand, please, Libra, this is not for everybody. This is not for all Libras, but if you're feeling stuck, some of this might apply to you. Please remember, we tend to get stuck when we're in the process of making big shifts. Okay? This is not about you being weak. Part of this is all of those things that you said to yourself that were critical at some point had a positive purpose. It had a healthy goal. These were the only ways that you could, on some level, keep yourself feeling safe, secure. Even though it was uncomfortable, there was a sense of control to it. And so as you're starting to shift, and this goes for all of us, as we're starting to shift out of that old identity, the old ghosts come up. Okay? The echoes that are saying, are you sure you want to change? Are you sure it's safe? Are you really sure? Are you really sure? And so it will give you the opportunity not to. It will give you the opportunity to fall back into that old stuff again. But what you're being asked to do is to please remember that you have a choice, and you have a choice at any point in time to stop that. If you get to the very end and you're floundering around and you're feeling like you're absolutely not able to do it, to make a change, that you're stuck. Ugh. At that point, that's when you say, this is the pattern. This is the moment where I can say, do I want to continue being this person? Do I want to exorcise this ghost? Do I, for some reason, need to keep identifying with that old energy in order to feel safe? And ironically enough, sometimes there is real grief in letting go of that old part of ourselves. But that actually, and I'm going to say, I just got this now, that for some of you, what this brings you is grief about not being able to change, about feeling powerless, about feeling trapped, and that grief can almost, it's like at a certain level, sometimes we have accepted our powerlessness, which really is basically accepting victimhood. And there is a grief over the fact that we feel we'll never get out of that. Okay? Let yourself be gentle in those moments. Okay? Let yourself be kind. You've got kindness. You've got compassion. You've got take care of yourself fiercely. Okay? You've got choice. What kind of day do you want? When you're in that stuck place, you don't even have to know how to get out of it. What you can do is you can just simply say, do I want to continue being in this place? Genuinely in your heart, do you want to continue being in this place? And if you can genuinely say no in a way that your heart feels, and you can let yourself cry whatever tears need to cry, or just walk away and say, I'm not going to believe in the shame. I'm not going to believe in the belief anymore that I can't get through this, that I can't change. I am choosing now to trust that I will be able to have the fierceness for my own self, strong for my own self, to be able to create systems that will support me. One of the things for Libra is that because your mind moves so fast, you can have an insight, you can know you need to take certain steps, but you don't. Because your mind is moving so fast, you've moved on. On one level, you've got it mentally, okay? And you move on. But what you need to understand, my dear Libras, is it's got to be put into place because your mind needs to have anchor points in concrete table and chair reality structures in order to be able to move through whatever's coming up before it gains so much momentum. You need to be proactive before you need to do the work. This is preparing you. This is building resources in your mind. And more that you can do that, whatever your process is, whatever your structure and your discipline needs to be for you, the more you can do that before that negative train of thought starts sinking, the better it is. Now, I believe I don't know if I've mentioned Rick Hansen to you, but I will refer to him often because I love his work. He's a psychologist. He comes from he's working with a Buddhist background, head over heels in love. What would you do? How would you be if you really believed that there was somebody who loved you even when you're at your worst, even when you resent yourself and dislike yourself? If you really believed that God was head over heels in love with you, no matter what you did, would that soften this enough? And if it will, then you need to find a way to bring that concept and that feeling into your life every day. Many times a day. Every time you eat, every time you drink water, every time you go to the bathroom. And you need to remember, every day you choose the new pattern of thought you want and the one you want to let go of. Libra, are you ready to let go of whatever identification you have with that old view of yourself? Okay? Doesn't mean you have to give up the good that's already there. It just means, are you ready to let go of whatever the old identity was? And you know what? It's something we all have to face because we're very attached to our egos. We're very attached to the personality, to the person we have come to know ourselves as. It's not as easy a thing as we would think. Sometimes it really is easier to hang on to who we are, or it feels easier, it feels safer. But what you got to know, my loves, is whatever heaviness is keeping you from being able to let go of that and move into your power of choice. Whatever is holding you back from creating whatever life-supportive rituals you need in order to not go into that mind spiral. You've got the choice to do it. You've got the choice to let that go. But you have to be willing to change first. Slowing down, all of these things that can help you do it, they can only come once you're willing to change who you are. You can't change your circumstance without changing your personality. So you have to be willing to give up the image that you are holding on to that might be holding you back. Now, for some people, this will still be really big. For some people, it's going to be where they haven't actually moved through some of that. For some people, they will have said, yes, in my heart, I'm ready to change. I'm ready to become who I need to be in order to not live in that old anxiety and fear and self-recrimination. I'm ready. And then that's great. So then for you, this is a confirmation that where you're going is choice, discipline. How do you want to live your day? Kindness and compassion for yourself. Oh my God, it's so important for you, Libra. Please, even if you're down at the bottom, that's when you need the kindness and compassion. And if you can't have it for yourself, please remember there is divine love and there is divine compassion, and it doesn't matter how you see yourself. Lean into the fact that there is divine love for you. All right, my dears? Somebody's having a hard time, and some of you are already on the road in a way where you've got the momentum towards the new way of being. So maybe this is just a reminder that the speed of your mind and your speed of moving through things can sometimes cause you to give up on some of those rituals. Back to the positive neuroplasticity in Rick Hansen. He gives all sorts of free stuff on his website. I really encourage you to look at some of his stuff because it's really practical. It's really down to earth, okay? One of the things that he says is 6 times a day for 12 seconds, allowing yourself to really soak into your body something that feels good, whether it's a taste of your coffee, the feel of the wind on your face, doesn't matter. It can even be just a wonderful memory. Embody it, and that's important for you, Libra, because being in your body will slow down your mind from taking you off track, okay? What he says is 6 times a day for only 12 seconds is actually more powerful for your nervous system than a 30-minute meditation. Now, he's a neuropsychologist. Neuropsychologist? I believe so. Check out his website, Rick Hansen. He's got wonderful stuff for you. Okay, I know it's been long. I'm going to leave now. Please take care. And remember, you are loved, all right? You're really genuinely loved. You can take a chance on loving yourself, or at least being okay with yourself for a while, okay? Take care.